Hi, everyone. On today's episode, we are talking to our amazing intended parents that are growing their families through egg donation. Liz and Brian live in Dallas with their sweet dog, Ladybird, and currently have a baby on the way. We also got to speak with Brandon. He and his husband, Jake, began their journey as parents through the foster system. And after many ups and downs and heartbreaking moments, they now have a beautiful baby girl and are growing their family further with egg donation and surrogacy. We are so grateful to Liz and Brian and Brandon for being vulnerable and sharing their story about their path to egg donation and what their journey was like, as well as some beautiful words of wisdom to those who are thinking about this process or maybe going through it now. So please enjoy Liz, Brian, and Brandon. Me, you, and who? Who knew it would take more than two people to have a baby? In a world where infertility is no longer a taboo topic, this podcast will take you through all of the different aspects of surrogacy and egg donation through the lens of many who walk this journey in different ways. My name is Whitney Hall, and I am a two-time surrogate, now turned surrogacy coordinator for Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, the very agency I used when I chose to carry for two amazing families. With this podcast, it is our goal to help guide and support you as you learn about what it takes to grow a family in an alternative way, as well as hear inspiring and beautiful stories of how this path has changed lives forever. We can't wait for you to hear about just one more way happy families are created every day. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Hello.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hi. You guys, thank you so much for giving your time and just coming here so we can chat and all of the things. So I am so grateful. Just starting off, let's just dive right in. What led you to egg donation, even just being like the thing that we're going to do to grow our family?
So it's been I don't know. I think for some people it's probably a much longer road than for us to get to egg donor.
Yeah.
But for us, it started right before I turned 40.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
We were just in a place where we've been married for 10 years and we love each other and enjoy our life. And I think for many years I thought if we have a kid, that's great. If we don't have a kid, that's also great.
Yeah.
And as I approached 40, I came to the realization that that was not true.
Having the kid would be great.
that actually something that was really important to me was having a kid. And so I went to Brian and I just said, you know what, this is something important to me. Let's talk about it. And it ended up being a great conversation. But due to age, we went straight to see an RE. A reproductive endocrinologist. And so, she gave us options. And I think at that point, it just, I think when we do something,
Yeah.
we're
100% in.
Yeah.
And
so
there's no dancing around. There's we're just in it.
and due to age and understanding statistics and how it all works, we just decided to go straight to IVF. So we ended up doing, an egg retrieval. And then we got one normal embryo from that. We ended up doing a transfer. That transfer was unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. And so, I found myself, then I'm 40 and we have a decision. Do we want to go back and do it again? Or what do we want to do? And it was that moment was really tough because I think a lot of people maybe in our position come to choosing an egg donor because they've tried IVF multiple times, right? Or they've had multiple tries at an egg retrieval and they haven't had success. And we only had tried it once. But again, thinking about age, thinking about time, just thinking about what we wanted for our life, knowing that we did want to have a kid, we decided to go ahead and pursue egg donor. And so that's how we came to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it sounds like you guys were just so pragmatic about it. Was it still, no matter how long you're going through this journey, I think it's still that emotional roller coaster. Did it ever feel like that? Or was it just, hey, we've got to get from point A to point B and we're going to get there no matter what?
No, it's been tough. It's been tough.
Yeah.
And I would love to tell you a story about how we were positive the whole time and we always had, faith it was going to work out. And honestly, I didn't necessarily feel that way. I don't know about you.
I think we knew we wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
So we talked back to, an RE, and it was like, okay, what are remaining options? And it was a mosaic egg from a retrieval, but it had a specific mutation we just weren't comfortable with.
Yeah.
Or, do another round or pursue egg donor. And again, just very, very math driven. It's just like, okay, well, of all these things, like the egg donor, was probably going to be the best mathematical odds, hands down. So like, that's where I ended up probably quicker, but also, I wasn't going to necessarily have the same issues of like genetics, that like Liz may have around that decision.
Yeah. I think when you're talking about like being pragmatic versus having emotions, it's really a blend of both. Mm-hmm. And I think you have to bring every emotional and like logical tool you have to this challenge to separate what is what, and to say, okay, I'm having a feeling like about this. I feel sad about potentially not having this genetic connection to my kid. However, what is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to have a kid and to have a family, and it's to be healthy and happy. And so weighing all those things and letting yourself have the feelings. But again, at the end of the day, the biggest question is, do we still want to move forward? Are we still ready to, do we still want to continue trying? And if the answer is yes, then you do the next thing. And I think what is hard, and maybe some people that are listening to this will get this, so there's not sometimes one right answer. It's not like the clouds parted and a voice spoke and said, you should do this, and this is what is the best path. So we just had to make a choice. And I do think we made those choices. We gave them a lot of thought, and in the moment trying to make the decision, it was really difficult. But once we committed, and then we moved forward, and now that we're here, I will say I don't feel any regrets. It was a long process, and there were many low moments and many setbacks. So many one step forward, two steps back.
Yes, absolutely.
I said that to a friend once, and they were like, "Yeah, but you're still one step ahead." And I was like, "No, you didn't hear me. I said one step forward,
hold on. That math didn't math."
But that, the other thing I told myself in the middle of all this is that I don't have to feel happy to move forward. That I actually part of this whole process with working with an agency and having an egg donor, and this whole process is like, I can be sad, we can have a setback, and I can feel down, and we're still moving forward. So my feelings don't prevent us from getting things done. So that's kind of a long answer, but yeah, that's how I'm trying to blend the feelings and the progress, because we were always like, something I told myself, because it's so many things you have to juggle, and this happens, and then if this happens, then we do this, but if this other thing happens, then we do this, and yes, we have this date, but if this other thing doesn't work out, then we have to wait. So I really tried to keep it simple. I tried to learn as much as I needed to learn to make the next decision, and that was it. So it's just do the next thing, and then when we get to that milestone, then we will do the next thing after that. And that really helps me contain the overwhelm, or feeling kind of hopeless, or like we were never gonna get there.
Yeah. Well, the overwhelm is so hard, because like you said, you're presented with so many choices when you're doing this, and it's choosing what makes sense in that moment, what makes sense for your family, and and all of that, and that can feel so overwhelming, just in general. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes, for sure. Brandon, what brought you to egg donation?
Long story short, I've always wanted to be a dad. Ever since I was 6 years old, I remember telling my mom I want to be a dad. We were at the playground, and I was like, I want to be a dad, and she says you have to get married and go to school, and you have to do all these things. So my number one goal has always to be a dad. Some people is like CEO or president of the United States. Mine is the dad. That's what it means.
I love it. It made career day easy.
Yeah. And I had decided that I was going to, go through the foster care system here in Texas. And me and my partner had a little girl for about 14 months that we were going to adopt. And I'm sure it is the way it is in other states, but the caseworkers are so overwhelmed. Mom had signed away her rights 2 months in. And when I went to finalize her adoption, that paperwork was nowhere to be found. And they asked Mom to sign again, and Mom said, no, this is God's way of saying she has a second chance. So I lost her, long story short.
Oh.
And my partner never wanted to be a dad, ever. I actually broke up with him and said, I want to be a dad. I'm almost 40, and this is the time for me to do it. You're in or you're out. And we broke up for a few months. We ended up getting back together. We got her. And then he fell absolutely in love with her. And he said, oh my gosh, I didn't know I wanted to be a dad until now, And so we were obviously devastated after we lost her. So then we went to adoption, matched adoption. And matched adoption was taking too long to get, to get matched. And during this whole time, we were mourning of, her loss and being left or gone back to Mom.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And so we started looking at surrogacy, and we thought, this is the best way to go. At least there are so many unknowns, but at least this is kind of more concrete, I guess you could say, versus we may or may not keep the baby, or it's always up to the transfer and up to delivery, but after that, it's kind of
it's a different kind of wavering, if you will.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, I was going through, I just kind of Googled egg donations, and I remember being on a plane one day, and there's just so many databases for eggs, and there's some crazy ones out there. I remember being embarrassed, and I was sitting on the aisle row on a plane and swiping through all these women. And I was thinking, man, I'm sure that the person behind me is probably thinking like, I'm looking for something else versus an egg.
I have been right there with you as my wife has handed me a laptop and been like, go through this catalog of women. And it's like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I mean, and so, and some are very, very provocative, and some are, just like, okay.
Some of those photos are, there's something. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of what, long story short, brought us here. But we just adopted a newborn baby. She's 2 months as of yesterday. So.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
Oh my gosh!
I'm in awe, and it's been great these past 2 months. So.
Yeah, you're in all those dad feels for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Now we're just ready for number 2 and 3.
There you go. I love it. We're moving forward. We continue to just move forward. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's funny you said, you're Googling, and then all of a sudden there's just all of these databases, and now you're swiping through profiles, and I mean, boy, it's like, it's an app that you never thought, that kind of thing. It's definitely very overwhelming. Well, first of all, what kind of led you to both of you to kind of choose between this idea of using an agency versus an egg bank, and then ultimately what led you guys to Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions amongst the just so many options out there, especially going to Google?
I think, again, I really tried not to learn more than I needed to about anything.
Yeah.
So when I was talking with my fertility doctor, and we said, I think we want to pursue egg donor. Can you tell us more about that? She ran down cost, a couple other things, and she said, here's 2 egg donor agencies that we work with. And she also talked about how you could do frozen, eggs, but she just said the best chance, like statistically, of success with a transfer is from using, having your donor go through IVF, and then you get all the eggs, those become embryos, we freeze those embryos. Like that's the highest chance of success. And we were lucky. We're lucky that we were in a place that was financially an option. So again, we're just in this place where if we're doing this, we're going to give it our best shot. So that seemed obvious. She handed me 2 agencies. I literally just went online and looked them up, both of them, created a profile. And honestly, it's because within a day, I didn't know this was going to happen. Someone texted or called me from the agency. And I was like, oh, didn't know that was going to happen. And I talked to a real person, and she just said, what are you looking for? What are you interested in? And I'm sure some people start that process and they need to think about it for a long time, but by the time we had made that choice, we were ready. And so it was very helpful. And that's how we ended up here. I mean, I didn't look at another agency. I didn't talk to another group. Again, I'm very much of like, if it's here, it's in front of me, it feels good, then
let's do it.
That's all I need. I will say about picking a donor, Brian and I met online. I've joked I've picked out every living thing in our family. I picked him out. I picked the dogs out that we've adopted. And so
I love it.
When you're looking for a donor, there's something even more personal and intimate about picking a donor versus even trying to find someone to date, right?
Tell me more.
You're picking someone to be a member of your family. You may never meet them, you may never know them, but you are bringing this person into your family in a way that's like very abrupt. And again, in a weird way, there's no dating. It's just you pick this person, and then, there's a connection there that will last the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And that wasn't a bad thing. It was just bizarre. It's just a like, that's a very strange thing to do. And to think, I went on, I hate to say vibes, but like kinda. Like that's the kid.
No, I don't think we hate that. I don't think we hate that though, because I mean, you go off that intuition. You go because I mean, you can read all day long, but ultimately, it's it's a feeling, right?
Yeah, and there's of course you can filter people, but the way I thought about it is I almost imagine our donor as like a cousin that lives in another state, and we talk about her sometimes, but she's not really here.
Sure.
So I just thought about like who in this roster of people feels like they could be like someone in my extended family, or if we met for coffee, we would have a nice conversation and it would feel organic. And that was after I kind of narrowed it down based on some preferences, like that was it. Just who do I feel an affinity to when I watch their video, when I read their writing. And so
absolutely.
That was it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon, what about you?
So me and Jake, we split up the task. He researched one agency and I researched totally, completely different agency. And then we kind of compared notes and just kind of what we were looking for. But as far as picking out a donor, it was like you pick your top 5 and I picked my top 5 and let's see which ones we pick together. We both just sat down one day and went to separate rooms and came back about 3 or 4 times, and we kind of narrowed it down that way. And at first it was like, okay, I want someone who I would normally date, like someone with dark hair or blonde hair or colored eye, like someone I was attracted to, someone that he was attracted to. We both completely picked someone that we didn't think that we would pick, just based off their profile. And there's their likes, their dislikes, their genetic history, their education, their height, their weight. It wasn't who we thought we were going to pick at all, but we were both happy with her. So
how funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I've heard that process before where it was, partners go into a separate room and look through it, separately instead of together. So yeah, and everyone I've heard, it sounds like that has resulted in some sort of kismet where somehow everybody magically agrees on something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, so during all of this, what, Brandon, you said like you had you've received so much education and, whether it was from your coordinator, and then Liz, I know you said you got a phone call within a day. What has that support looked like, whether it was from the agency or your coordinator or, kind of the village around you? What was that support like while you're going through this? Because like you said, Liz, it's, one step forward and two steps back. And, some of us are grieving throughout the process. I mean, Brandon, my gosh, you had everything going on with your family while you're doing this. I mean, you've got to have that village, right?
I think for us, we were so uneducated or so confused that it kind of scared us to move forward. Every step forward, we're like, do we want to take this step? Because we still don't know the step prior. like we still don't understand that process yet. Yeah. And I think through, the agency, you guys, attorneys, everyone, like you guys, just my coordinator was awesome. She educated us on every single thing and sent emails with every single process, which is awesome. Like, hey, next Monday, we're doing this. And then next Tuesday, we're doing this. And she, a lot of people say those things. Hey, I'm going to be there through step 1 through 100 at this point.
Sure.
And update you, and she did. She was wonderful. Like we knew things were moving forward just because of the emails that we were getting. No one wants to sign up with an egg donor bank or an agency and just it's completely silence until you reach out. And for you guys, she reached out at every process, and then she also kind of gave us tips. Us being a same-sex couple, a lot of clinics don't have, I guess, their fees, for same-sex couples as far as whatever that process looks like. But, she
they don't match up always. There's separate fees for if you're using 2 different types of sperm and all kinds of things.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's madness. Absolutely. Yes.
And that we had no clue. So she would just give us a heads up, like, hey, ask your clinic about this. Some clinics are just a little bit behind, and I just want to make sure that you're not paying more than what you need.
I'm so glad that you felt cared for, but that you also felt advocated for. Because you're right. Unfortunately, not all clinics are kind of up to date on what should be just for all people in general. And so I love that that you felt advocated for during that process. What about you guys?
I don't think it would have even occurred to me to try to do this without an agency.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's different and thinks about it differently. But I think if you can't, for me, if you have the money, there are certain things that it does not make sense to me to cut corners.
I love that.
I value, like I learned when I was very young to never dye my own hair. So
this is a good thing. Yes.
I pay someone money for their expertise there, right?
Yes, so we all have talents.
This is an area of choosing an egg donor and navigating the legal and medical framework of that is so far outside of my domain of expertise that it is worth hiring an agency that not only helps you find the egg donor, but then walks with you every step of the way. And we were so lucky. Our fertility clinic is also amazing, like truly top tier, and really cares and really knows what they're doing. And so I feel every setback we had, it had nothing to do with the ball getting dropped. It had nothing to do with someone forgetting to do something or not getting back to us or something falling through the cracks. And so, I felt very cared for, and also kind of going back to my just do the next thing. It was always very, very clear to me, what is the next thing? And if it wasn't clear, I could send an email. Can you remind me what's that next thing I need to do? Yeah. Or are we waiting on you guys? Oh, we are? Okay, that's great. And Amanda, our coordinator, is awesome. She still is checking in on me. She emailed me today just to ask how we were doing and how things were going. And so, I feel like, yes, it's a job for people, but that they really do care. And again, the knowledge, y'all know, because you've walked with so many people down this road, all the ins and outs of the process. And that's also really nice too. We have some friends that knew what were going on, and they were great. But I really think unless you've walked this road, you can't entirely understand it. The timing of things, how you can miss a window for something by a day, and then that means you have to wait a whole menstrual cycle for something to happen. Or there's this, oh, sorry, you have to have a hysteroscopy, so you're not going to do this. It's going to be 2 more months,
Yes.
So all those little things that add up. And then, so like friends care. Like I've had friends, I remember they would check in, and then I know they feel like they waited a long time, but they maybe waited 3 weeks to check in. And I'm like, I don't have anything new for you, because we're still waiting, and so it's just,
and I think having that like guide that was right information, right time. So
I love that.
Like a scary little delay popped up in a chain of a lot of delays, and knows, hey, we've had delays before, and that's annoying. So like, here's the right information at the right time. So like, hey, this happened, but here's what's happened before. Here's what's going to happen next. This is not that big of a deal. It's just immensely helpful. Like, it's just so nice to like have somebody that like, because like we've never done this and we're never going to do it again. So it's like, ideally one of one, and then so like having somebody that's had those swings at the bat and walked that road before, whatever metaphor you want to use there, like it again, immensely helpful. Not just in spending any time in life that you can get those resources. So yeah, lucky we're at a point that we could spend that extra money and pay for high quality resources there, but worth every penny, and more so.
I think it was just, it was definitely the follow up and just the education that you guys provided that made us feel a lot more comfortable in going through this process. Because I mean, just like you guys said, I mean, it is a lot of money, and you want to make sure that you aren't cutting corners and that you are getting, what you want. And I mean, just that follow up was amazing from the time that I inquired about, the first donor to to the very last one. So it was great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. But and you're so right. You're so right. It's whenever you are overwhelmed with all of the possibilities and you just want to know the next thing, to be able to have that person holding your hand every step of the way, and whenever those bumps do come up and you're like, oh my gosh, is this a big deal? Hey, it's okay. It's okay. We've got this. All good. We're going to, here's point A, point B, plan A, plan C, whatever it may be. So, I'm so glad you guys had such a wonderful experience and had that education, because it is huge. Education, I feel like, is more knowledge, more power, right?
Yeah.
What do you feel like was maybe the biggest surprise whenever you were going through this whole experience?
You can go ahead, Liz.
I'll go. This is not specifically about the egg donor and the process, but I think maybe this sounds overly sentimental, but I think Brian and I are closer now. I think
I love that.
It is really, it's been really hard, but through all those difficult things, we worked really well together as a team. And I think there's just something so nice about having someone to share the grief with, Like by nice, I mean beautiful. There's something really lovely about that, and that I feel like we've gotten even clearer on our communication. Just because, you know, there's things we're keeping up with, and then you're starting to think about having a kid and like wanting to hone and sharpen that, and just having tough conversations and sitting with difficult things. I really think it's made our relationship stronger, and it's made me really, I think I'm seeing glimpses of the dad that he's going to be, and that's where I'll get really emotional, but I'm just really excited. And the way I felt supported by him in this process, you know, I think it's hints of things to come, and that makes me really excited.
Yeah, I know my biggest surprise has been the amount of other people in my life that have gone through this journey or something very similar, and just not talked about it, and in whatever way, like I'm chatty with my friends about things and bad at keeping secrets. So, you know, like, there's just certain people. It's like, hey, why are you bummed out? It's like, well, okay, you want to know why I bummed out today? It's like, because all this happened. And I have found the more that I've opened up with people and shared the hurdles and just that we've been going through it, all kinds of my friends have come out of the woodwork, and they've gone through it. One of them's going through this right now. And, you know, it's just been really, really nice to, like, you know, put a little bit of vulnerability out there to kind of share some difficulty and, like, really be rewarded with, like, connection to a lot of people, and just kind of, like, people don't talk about it as much, and I think they should. So that's what I'm going to take with me going forward on this.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I mean, and you're so right. I feel as though, you know, I hang out in surrogacy land, and I feel like that surrogacy kind of, for lack of a better word, doesn't necessarily feel as taboo. Like, I mean, granted, you know, Lifetime movies and People magazine definitely take it and run with it, but, you know, like it seems a little more, as people talk about it a little more, but egg donation still seems so abstract, so bizarre, like you said, Liz, and, you know, and people don't know how to talk about it. And you're so right. The more you talk about it, the more you make it less taboo, the more people, it just becomes commonplace, right? Like, people are doing it, they're just not talking about it. Yeah. Brandon, what were you going to say?
Yeah. I was going to say, I can relate to both. I was going to say that, you know, all of my friends who have kids have done surrogacy. And so, you know, we've kind of briefed through the topic every now and then, and I was like acting like I understood what they were saying. Sure. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So now, I'm going back to them and asking them questions. And so that's gotten us closer. And to Liz's point, you know, me and Jake we've connected on a whole new level, you know, probably this past year, that like no other. I mean, when people ask how we're doing, I'm like, man, we are on the same page. We are communicating great. And I think, to Liz's point, it was just, it's, you know, this process gets, you know, it makes you guys closer. You know, to the point where we got engaged and we got married last year.
Congratulations.
I mean, it's just crazy when you're just, you know, working on a goal like this, and then just looking towards the future, you know, when that goal actually happens. But yeah, I think to Liz's point, that was my biggest surprise too, was just how well we connected, because we weren't connecting very well before that.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. So, to any other, you know, intended parents out there, what would be the biggest advice that you would want to maybe give to them? Or maybe what would you want to say to yourself, you know, on day one of this?
I think I would say you don't have to know everything from day one. This is going to be a slow process for, as far as on the educational side of it. You know, get to understand one process before the other. And if you choose Egg Donor Solutions, I mean, they're going to walk you through every step of the way, every process. They're going to educate you. And I think that, you know, looking at egg donor profiles, just be open. You may be going into wanting a certain, demographic or height or weight, but those videos, the videos that are actually on y'all's website, those really speak to you. I there were several that I wanted as our donor, but they were already taken. So I would just say, there's no rush, and I'm gonna go through those profiles, and it could be a week, 2 weeks, a month, but just definitely take your time and picking whomever you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I should have thought about this more, and I won't, spend 30 minutes with all my advice, but I think the just do the next thing is a piece of advice. Try not to get overwhelmed, and ask yourself, is the information I'm trying to learn helpful, and do I need it right now? And if the answer to one of those questions is no, then maybe don't bring that in yet, and take in what's useful. I would also say, think about the difference between feelings and data, and they're both really important pieces of information, but don't confuse the two, and try to bring them both in when you're making your decisions. And also, I would just say, if you're feeling a little strange about pursuing egg donor, or a little worried about it, or a little sad about it, I think those are all really normal feelings. And I think it would actually be strange if you didn't have some sort of mixed feeling there. It's somewhere in there. And I think as I've gone along, all my concerns, I think they're very normal. And so I'm not worried that I have concerns, but even as we're going along in this process, and the closer we get to actually having a kid, I am finding some of those fears falling away. Some of those concerns about, will I connect? Because I do really feel like, I'm contributing here. The longer I'm pregnant, the more I'm like, I'm doing a lot of work here.
Oh, you think so? You think you're doing some work over there?
Yeah, I am contributing.
Yes, ma'am, I'd say so.
So as we go along in this process, I feel like some of those concerns are falling away, and I think in the end we will have a baby and then a child that's who they are, and once they're here, I won't imagine it any other way. And that's so that will erase some of the, again, on the front end, before you have the good thing, like the kid on the other side, it's just concerns, and you're not yet to the place that you're arriving to. That sounds very esoteric, but you're with the waiting, you're not in the being yet, I guess. And so when you're finally doing it and living your life, I think some of those concerns will fall away. And if not, get a good therapist, work it out.
Love therapy. Everybody should do it. Just by the by. Yes.
I would just say, don't be afraid to voice your concerns and give your feedback, because some of mine were, I'm being selfish, or I'm feeling insecure, and I was afraid to talk to my spouse about that. But once we did, it was great conversation, and I could move on to the next insecurity that I had.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I mean, that speaks to what Brian said about vulnerability, and that's with your spouse and your tribe around you. I'm sorry, Brian, I interrupted you.
No, it's just like, I agree. I think talking it out is the best policy for all. If you're going through this as a couple, talk it out. If you're going this as an individual, find somebody in your trust tree that you can talk these things out with, because it is just like decisions you are going to have to make purely on statistics and guts, and hey, we made there's 3 data points ever for this thing ever in the history of medical science. Make a good decision, y'all. So it's just like you're just gonna have to be okay with making some gut choices, and I think being a couple, like talking it out and talking out the weirdness, because like it's the only way, and you'll get it out. And I think you'll find the other person's going through the same weirdness or their own version of it too.
I thought of one more.
Go for it.
An advice to maybe even myself, or, you know, because I was talking about how it can feel weird or you might be sad, but I think I truly believe that there's all kinds of ways to have a family, and family looks different for lots of different people, and we have never lived in a better time for that. And so I take a lot of comfort knowing that, yes, will everybody my child knows, will this be the like typical? No, but there are going to be more kids out there like them than ever before, and more resources for talking about it. And again, it's, you know, just because you're not like all the other people right next to you doesn't mean there aren't people out there like you. It doesn't mean there's other people out there that aren't different. And so I'm hopeful that this, you know, cultivates an opportunity for empathy and compassion and understanding that there are all types of ways to be a family.
Yeah, I've always said it's amazing how we as adults, we tend to make things way more complicated than those kids ever do. I mean, it was so funny even talking to my kids. You know, I'm a surrogate, and so they've, you know, have gone to many a school function where I'm pregnant and it's not their brother or sister, and you know, they just, you know, their friends are like, you know, oh, you're getting another, you know, you're getting another sibling? No, someone else's, and they just go on. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. You guys are so, oh my gosh. Well, okay. My final question. This is a fun one. So for anyone who knows me, they know that I have a very codependent relationship on coffee, and this may or may not be decaf. We'll see. We'll find out. But, I love to always ask, what filled your cup this morning? Literally or figuratively, what filled your cup?
Somebody had to sit in traffic and go to the doctor's office for a blood
draw.
Oh.
I was gonna say, well, my answer is not like very poetic. It was I had some really good breakfast tacos this morning.
You know what? That fills my breakfast tacos can really fill one's cup. Absolutely.
Nice. Yep, it was nice.
I gave somebody a promotion yesterday, and
awesome.
I sat in a meeting today where that person just like rocked out and was like a great lead after getting that promotion, and you could just feel that he was like had wind in his sails. So
that makes you feel good.
As a manager, I always take joy when I see things like that.
Absolutely. Nice. Oh, I love that.
And for me, it's my daughter. I mean, I wake up every morning feeling blessed and great, and even in the middle of the night when she's up at 3 a.m, you know, I'm not complaining about it because this is what I wanted. And my husband's been gone on, you know, for work out of state all this week. And so it's just been me and her. But every morning I see those blue eyes and she wakes up and we just have a great day. So she's filling my cup.
So. I love that. I love that. Well, thank you guys again for, you know, just giving your time and being willing to share your story and being vulnerable and, you know, just a help to any of those, you know, listeners we have out there who are wanting to educate themselves more. I'm so grateful to you, and sending all the good vibes to you, Liz, with, you know, all of the upcoming fun for Liz and Brian, and, you know, Brandon, give, you know, our love to Jake as well as you guys go on to, you know, the next part of your adventure and your growing families. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Whitney.
Thank you. Congratulations, Brandon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Me, You, and Who. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed our discussion today. As we wrap, we would like to remind you of some of the ways that you can stay connected with us and be part of the Me, You, and Who podcast community. Firstly, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode and can stay up to date with our latest content. But that's not all. We also have an exciting YouTube channel where we share some bonus content, behind the scenes glimpses, and video versions of our episodes. Head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button there as well. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when the new episodes go live. And for more exclusive updates, engaging discussions, and a chance to connect with fellow listeners. Be sure to follow us on our social media accounts. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Create a Happy Family. If you're interested in finding out more about creating a happy family, please visit us at www.createahappyfamily.com. Thank you again for being part of the Me, You, and Who community. Your support means the world to us. I can't wait for you to join us next time as we continue to share stories and journeys of creating happy families.